everybody hates feminism.
These feminists kind of, hate men generally. We don't want men in our life. Men are trash. Men are useless. So this kind of hatred towards men kind of make a whole lot of men hate feminists and some traditional women.
Feminism fights for equality. Even the wages, they tend to pay women less. In countries like India, less than what they pay men for the same amount of work.
I hear that men are intimidated with women who have money. And so some women even have to sell their houses so that they can be humble enough to be approached by men.
The number of corruption that men have been responsible for.
And are still
responsible for.
Yeah.
You did not care about men being abused until a woman was being abused.
Yeah.
And that is the most disgusting and irritating thing I ever see.
Normally, this world is supposed to be women's world in the first place. So men came and took over from women. So women need to.
I don't know.
They need to
that sentiment.
People don't ask questions.
Hi, I'm Hitabel. Hi, I'm Emma.
Hi, I'm
And
welcome to Truth in Bikinis,
where we strip down life's toughest issues to its core truth.
Well, at least the ones that we believe affect women. And today we're going to be talking about why everybody hates feminism. As we've been on the internet, you begin to see a lot of discourse around feminism. Yeah. Whether it's anti-feminist, people making content criticizing it, whether it's people making content defending it to their last breath. And we come to find out on the internet something as simple as should women have equal rights is causing this much stir up. I don't think it should be that controversial to say I'm a feminist, and I don't think it should be that controversial to advocate for women's rights. But at some point, it begins to irritate people online. If you guys can remember the purple profile movement, right, to stand with the women of South Africa with the high levels of essay that was going on in that country. And it was so bad. It was a good movement, but like what was happening was that people did not like it. Something as simple as, we are just changing our profile to just show that we see you. Yeah. We stand with you, right? We are seeing what you're going through, right? And people did not like it. In fact, men created a kind of counter movement for men being falsely accused of essay, and it was green profile.
Wow.
So we would have people online having green profile, having purple profile. You have green and purple because they feel it's too equally this thing to fight for, movements to fight for. Yeah. And people will be, if you have purple profile now, they'll be insulting you, calling Purple Ranger. It was so bad online, and it just goes to show like, as much as we've moved forward, it's as if we are taking 10 steps backwards in some moments, because there's no reason why something as simple as, I'm changing my profile to stand with women that have been abused should cause so much controversy. There's no reason why people should hate it so much. There's no reason why it should be used as an insult. Do you understand? That doesn't make sense to me. And, I just want us to really come to a place to understand where all of this is coming from. And I'll just ask this question. What would you guys define feminism as, and why do you think people are reacting this way towards feminism?
Okay, I would say that feminism is advocates for equal rights and opportunities, fair treatment. Women shouldn't be treated less because they are women. They are as well human. So that's what feminism is all about, equal rights and opportunities. But I think where people tend to hate feminism is because they do not really or properly understand what feminism is all about. They think that feminism is about hating men, fighting the culture, fighting tradition, and so on. But they don't understand that feminism, or what feminism wants, is equal rights for women, equal opportunities for women, education for women, and so on. So these are the things that did not happen far back. Women weren't given that opportunity to go to school and so on. So what feminism now wants is, equal opportunity. But at the same time, I think feminism, some feminists, it's kind of taking this thing further. Because there are feminists, I will call them the extreme or radical feminists. So these feminists kind of, hate men generally. we don't want men in our life. Men are trash. Men are useless. So, they kind of give men that definition that women don't really need men in their lives at all. They don't even need men in the community. They don't need men in the society. So this kind of hatred towards men kind of make a whole lot of men hate feminists and some traditional women. They're like, because men has always been there. So when we see women coming out, especially on social media, you see a whole lot of women coming to, talk ill things about men, that men are just there. So they tend not to like men at all. So I think that's
like a bit of a miscommunication in a way, because feminism, like radical feminism, is different from misandry. You describe misandry and then call that radical feminism. Yeah. Radical feminism is more about
hatred for men is misandry.
It's misandry.
Yeah.
Radical feminism is more about like dismantling all those structures, and I do think it does involve tradition and culture. We're trying to move away from traditional cultures that harm women specifically. So yes, people that they don't like the fact that feminists are changing culture and tradition, they're right. Yes, it is changing culture and tradition in order to give women freedom.
I don't think it's essentially a bad thing. I think one of the biggest things that feminism tries to help us understand is the fact that women are actually human beings.
Yeah.
Yes, every woman is a human being, and they should have opportunities. They should have every other thing available to every other human being should be available to the woman as well. The idea that, okay, because you're a woman, this is where you belong and this is where you should stay. And maybe it used to work back then. Maybe 1,000 years ago it was okay, because back then leadership was about strength. Leadership was about how much build you had. But right now, in this age, in this season, feminism is saying women go to school. Women can also go to school. Women can reach higher heights. They don't have to aim small because I'm a woman, I can't do this. There are cultures where training women in school was a waste of money. And parents would say that with their mouths to their children, to their female children, I'm not going to waste my money on you. Let me train the boys. And they actually trained the boys. And the downside of that was that I ended up raising men who of course do not see women as anything. Who of course do not value women. We just gave the definition that a woman is less. A woman is something, okay, your education will end in the kitchen. So why are you going to school? No need. Let me not waste my money, So I think that's one of the biggest thing and I think everybody should align to it. There's really no reason why you should consider another human being lesser than you. If you are saying, I'm greater than you in something, maybe because maybe you have achieved more than I have and I haven't gotten there, so I deserve the right to be over you. Well, maybe it's cool. But if you are saying because they gave birth to you and you don't have the resources, the physical resources that I have a penis and you have a vagina, it makes you less. It's wrong. It's wrong. And so I think sometimes miscommunication of what feminism really stands for may also be the reason for the hatred most men have. Even though I think that there are people who just hate it for what it is. Yeah, there are people who just hate it for what it is. And it's not even about miscommunication. They just don't like the idea of women being free, the idea of women being financially independent, the idea of women actually reaching the heights that they never used to aim for. Most people don't like that idea because that means freedom in a lot of ways, and I think most people don't like that idea.
Okay, so how about the aspect of the misandrist hating men? What can we say in that particular aspect of the women actually hating men?
Misandry is just, in my opinion, misandry is just a response, like a trauma response.
Yeah, I think it's personal experiences.
Yeah, it's personal experiences. And another thing, I don't think, with the way misandry is, it doesn't cause as much harm systematically as patriarchy and what misogyny has done. Because the thing with misandry is that it can only really affect that person and the person that the people they engage with in their life. So it's on a smaller scale. Yeah. Misogyny and patriarchy is systemic. It's the systems in which we operate, you understand? So it's not something that you as a single person can really try and escape, or do you get?
Yeah.
But with misandry is more avoidable. It's very easy to, because it's not a systematic thing. It's like a choice thing that one person can decide to enact on their life. Not saying that it's a good thing. Not saying misandry is like something we should strive for. And I'm also not excusing it. I'm just saying that
of course.
it is something that can be, you can understand it from that lens. Okay, you can actually see that at the end of the day, the energy that we are trying to use to dismantle patriarchy is not something to kind of be wasted on misandry, because misandry isn't real.
There are people who actually say that for you to successfully be a feminist, you have to have a little bit of misandry.
You know, that is the aspect.
Misandrous gene.
You know, when they generalize this misandry, and then because when things like this come up on social media, some ladies who feel like they might, I'm a feminist, they might say I'm a feminist. And they hear some of these misandrists online because, you know, things that they say bad things kind of flow faster than the good ones. So when they now go out there and the misandrists are telling you, we hate men, men are bad, men are trash, men are useless. So when they keep saying this word, women who actually their main goal was for equality, what feminism stands for, equality, equal opportunities, all those things. So when they now see, men are bad, we don't need marriage in life. So these people that actually had that mind, I will get married. When they now hear, you don't need to get married because men are like this. If you actually get married, you will sweat, you will suffer, you will see this, you will see that. But all marriages are not like that.
Yeah.
There are good marriages out there. There are people enjoying their marriage very well. There are people, if they want to tell you what they are going, one lady said 27 years of marriage, she's actually enjoying it. It's as if she just got married yesterday. Okay, but the picture most of these people are painting is that marriage is very bad. You as a woman, you go in there, you are going to be oppressed. So many ladies just see that idea, if I go into marriage, it's only oppression that I will see. And they will always bring up stories of people that have gone through marriage. They were this, they were going through that. And that causes a whole lot of fear in the lives of these young ladies that intend to get married. So they now feel, this is what, and when some people see this, they'll be like, this is what feminism is actually preaching. They are preaching that women should not get married. They should not even, whatever, marriage, childbirth. They'll tell you, childbirth. We know childbirth is actually is a painful sight. The experience, everything is actually not easy, okay? But the way they are going to paint it is we know saying I'll do or die affair where they go so, and it is not worth it. They will tell you it's not worth it. And you know, before now, motherhood is something almost everybody wants to experience. But the picture that is being painted now is that,
is that motherhood something? I think we very much operated on a system that relied on women's ignorance on these issues to keep them having children. And as for that one, as for motherhood, I think people that want to have children most likely will still want to have kids, in the sense that it's better, in the sense that it braces you for the harsh reality of that decision. You know, because the system we're operating in before is just everybody gaslights you and lies to you and gives you a fake image about what it is like. They even point and reference women that had 20 or 12. But now we are in the age of the internet and we're actually seeing what it is. I have consumed so much anti-pregnancy, anti-childbirth media, but I still want to have children. And I still maintain that I want to have kids. 2 children. That's something I want to. And another thing, with that specifically, I personally believe that you should not base your life, your principles, your morals and philosophies based on 30 to 60-second clips you're seeing on the internet.
Exactly.
Because I think that's where the problem is.
Yeah.
People are relying too deeply on fast track, quick, easy, dopamine hits information to define who they are or define what they want to do or how they want to move. They are not doing research. They are not finding out what they want to find out for themselves. They are not living life and experiencing it and basing their life off of their experiences. Yes, because one thing I think about the internet is that people can come online and say something very boldly. Whether they believe it,
it may not be true.
It may not be true. It may not be true. And they'll say it's so confident that you will think it's the truth. I want to. And I think this one is just a cautionary something. I think the solution for that problem is that each person, this is like a personal thing, try your best to live your life outside of TikTok, Instagram,
Outside of
Facebook,
social media.
outside of social media. Try and do your own research.
A lot
Try
is
and
not
understand
real there.
because there's so much fake information. There's so much aggression there, and like you said, negativity spreads faster. Negativity spreads faster. So when it comes to feminism, the worst sides of feminism you're going to see, or even a total gross misrepresentation of what it is. So I think that's what's going on when it comes to the internet and stuff. And I think moving forward, we as people should make conscious efforts to define ourselves rather than what's like let's say the internet define us.
You know, I shared a story the last time about a lady on TikTok where she mentioned she has a group of women that they have their own group. So this group is called is it Motherhood of what? So that group, their goals is to dismantle men. So any woman that's even planning on getting married or bringing children to this world is like the way they mark you. So their own plan is to any man that is coming to our life, make sure we are to destroy that man. So she go live and she have women supporting her, ladies supporting. When I came across that thing, I was like, wow. So people like ride on mama. So this is what she is teaching people. So she tell them that normally this world is supposed to be women's world in the first place. So men came and took over from women. So women need to. I
don't know.
That
sentiment of this used to be a woman's world.
It has never been a woman's world.
Not that it used to be, that it's supposed to be. I can understand that in the sense that, like, you know, the nurturing, caring, this thing associated with femininity and being a woman. Do you get, like, the world in the way in which it exists to flow as an ecosystem cannot exist. Women end up being the people that, do you get, men in more of the protecting, you know, physically, but the way things have changed, human beings have evolved. It's not that same way. Men are not needed physically the way they normally used to be needed with their testosterone and their muscles. It's not. It's very different. But you know, when it comes to nurturing, bringing forth life, there's one thing I saw, that when you want to create a robot, right, what would you do? You say, I'll make it strong, I would make it resilient, I would make it obedient, I would make it all these things, I would make it, you know, an efficient robot. And then those characteristics that you would list would be more attributed to masculinity. When I ask, what would you do to give this robot life, to make it more human-like? I would, you know, give it some emotional intelligence. I would give it some kindness. I would give it some more caring. You understand? So I think I can see some truth to what she's saying, but that's something that can be grossly manipulated and over. Do you understand?
I mean, this is how people set themselves on fire so that they can see Jesus and collect vengeance.
Yeah, I think it has some truth to it, in the sense, yes, we are life givers. We are, you know, we are very important in the flow of life and the existence of all these things. But,
you know, but the essence of feminism is not like to lord it over men or to own the world. Like, you know, to own the world and to chase men out or something. I mean,
it's to have the opportunities to exist in those spaces.
And to compete favorably without all of that.
Like, without any of those societal negative sentiments. Like, you know, oh my goodness, I saw this panel, and this panel made me want to, like, I was like, so this life is really not balanced, okay? I saw men raising children versus women raising children. Like, the world in which we exist as women is just so painfully against us sometimes, and we've internalized and normalized this so much that it's just like, you know. The panel was a picture of a single dad with his child and a single mom with her child. The single dad referred to him, oh wow, what a great dad, oh my gosh, I can't believe he stayed, do you get praises? The single mom is bashed for being a single mother. Single mothers are bashed for being single mothers. When there's a single father, he is praised for staying, because apparently it's not normal for men to stay. Or when a woman is cleaning, cooking, and taking care of her kids, she's just, oh, that's mommy.
That's normal.
That's mommy. Yeah, if the dad now does it, it's not like oh my gosh, your dad. Yeah. Oh, everybody will praise you.
You know, the thing about it is the fact that this is essentially where all of the issues started. Culturally, traditionally, let's even look at the African culture. And let's look at Nigeria that we are now, you know. the idea is that men are raised a certain way different from women. So women are essentially raised to actually be nurturers, to raised to be domesticated. The men are neglected in that aspect. And Chimamanda was saying something. He said the outcome of that is that we have grown men who like their ego so much, like egotistic, like they are just full of themselves, and like, oh, that's a woman's thing, I can't touch that. That's what a woman should be doing. It's nothing, and all of that. And so these are the people who don't think that women are anything. I mean, that's your job. I should know.
Let me add
These are the people who I said, oh, my mother never asked my father to do anything. You cannot do that. I am your head, and you cannot. And this is how they sound, because
they raise their sons. Their sons are not washing plates. Their sons are not cleaning.
But one thing we should understand is that we can change all of these things if we start raising the children to understand that you are a child or you are a human being, and you should have basic survival skills. Cooking is a survival skill. Cleaning the house, because you were sharing a story the other day of a guy who like packs up all his clothes and then waits for the girl to come clean up. Because why should you live like that?
But wait, if the men are raised to,
and you marry her,
if the men are raised to wash, clean the home, cook, and then women are raised to provide. Do you think the world will be better?
No, we are not saying they should be. We are saying everybody should be raised with the understanding that they are humans.
Yeah.
So if you are teaching your child, your guy, your man, your boy child, financial independence, also teach your girl child that. If you're teaching them, the girl, to be domesticated, to clean the house, to wake up on time, to make sure, to even go to the market, teach your boy the same thing. He's going to need it. I mean, there are men who leave their pregnant wives in the hospital, or there are men who actually abandon their wives that just gave birth.
There's something I saw like
they
that
can't
online.
even help her.
There's something I saw like that online. Like, she just gave birth and her husband brought video games. She was playing video games in the hospital after she gave her. She was holding their baby that she gave birth to. I brought this thing up to a guy who's like, oh, you don't know
what did you want him to do?
Like, I'm like,
that sometimes there are some children, they are well trained from their home, how to cook, how to take care of everything. But when they now grow up, they tend to leave all those things, like, there are people like that. No. There are people like that. I know there is someone, he can cook very well, right from when he was little. I think the mom has just 2 boys. And they've been the one mopping, doing everything. So when he now grew up, he had friends, and then
they showed him the way.
At some point, he was
the way
like,
of rest.
No, I can cook very well. I can do all of those things, but I don't think I should do them. But this was someone that was actually trained on how to do all these things right from childhood. Sometimes people just grow up. People just grow up with their individual choices. They decide to make choices that, I want to do this. Even ladies, we are trained to be nurturers, to be caregivers, but at some point we just grew up and like, we are not just going to be nurturers. Let's just do something else to make our life better. And that's when you see some of them into different fields. Some are learning skills, some are looking for money, trying to balance themselves. So the same thing is applicable to some people. I think this life basically is about choice. People grow up and make choices for themselves. Like, I used to cook, or my mom taught me how to do this, my mom taught me how to do this. And then they grew up and they're like, I don't want to do this one again. So any woman that is coming in should be the one to do this. Me, I just want to focus on providing for the family. So I think people just grow up at some point and make choices.
For that one, I would say yes, but not to that degree. I don't know. I personally, like, children, the way they are raised, especially if they are not raised in like an abusive, forced type of way, they are raised kind of normally. Like, the things that they grow up used to stays. It stays. It's very rare for people, like, even a lot of habits that you grow up having, it's very, very, like, unless they already had that habit, unless when their parents were training them to do work, they were avoiding work, they were avoiding those things normally, like, since that time. Because things don't just happen. I have a friend like this that they used to be Jehovah's Witness, right? And they stopped being Jehovah's Witness, and now they are in a Pentecostal church. And till now, nobody celebrates their birthday in that family. Nobody. Like, as per, she's a grown adult now. She's 20. She does not care for her birthday. She doesn't care for her birthday. She doesn't care for celebrating it. She's not really interested because she was raised to not be
Pay
interested.
attention to
You
that,
understand?
yeah.
Like her parents raised them. They didn't just raise them and say, "Oh, don't do." No. Like they made them not value it. Like they were just like, until now. Like, oh, you gave me a gift, thank you. But for them to sit down and think, what am I going to do? And also
make a big deal out
yeah,
of
make
it.
a deal. And then there's now like someone else I know that's also Jehovah's Witness, but like they are more interested in those things, even if they were raised not to be. But the fact is that the interest has been there from time.
Yes. Maybe they've seen other children.
Exactly.
They desired it,
They've
but
desired
they couldn't
it.
have it.
But this other
because,
family, like this other from time, like the interest was not there. They were raised in an environment where, so it really just boils down to the exact way they were trained, even the way they were raised to think. Because they can train you in a certain way, but they don't raise a thinking pattern inside of you, right? So you go outside and you get a different thinking pattern than what your parents now come and raise you. Because, for example, now my dad was raised in a household where everybody was given work, chores, like nobody was excluded. You are folding clothes, you are washing, you are cooking food. My dad is an excellent cook, okay? And he likes to cook, right? But at the same time, it's like, if he was raised in a household where his sister was always the one that would be like, oh, do this, do that, do this, do this. He would have that expectation from the women in his life to do that. My dad does not come home and expect me to cook for him. I don't know. That's just my own situation. Like, because I know it's a rare situation.
Yes,
he doesn't come back home. He
sister.
doesn't expect my mom. He doesn't expect.
Yeah, it is.
He's
It's
like
rare.
the type of person is like, oh, I have free time. There's ingredients. Let me cook. In fact, if I make the mistake and I'll enter that kitchen to cook, he will slowly start coming and correcting me. Did you do this? To the point that kitchen just becomes his own, and I'm just a side character there. I'm just looking at him, anything he's doing. So the way he was raised and also his interest in it does play a part. So I think it's more important that it's not just that when we raise our kids, we should raise our kids by making them do these things. I think it's important to tell them why. And explain to them why. Also making them understand the outside world and the outside world's perspective. Just like how most children, like I would say 95%, let me say 80, 85, let me not make it so high. 85% of people that were raised Christian stayed Christian their entire lives till they died. They stayed Christian their entire lives, regardless of how much the world would be like, oh, this is not real. Like when you grow up, you tend to experience other perspectives and a lot of people trying to say different things. And if you go on the internet now, there's so much anti-Christian videos. There's so much anti-religion videos all over the internet. But most people still stay with their faith.
Do you know that I agree with you, but even to some extent, it's not really like that to some extent. Because let's say, for instance, there are some parents that kind of overprotect their children. Oh, don't go out, don't see men, and so on. In fact, they lock them from morning till night. You don't go out. And if you want to see those children, sometimes when they now have that slight opportunity to go outside the world, the level of things those children would do would amaze you. And even same thing, you will see some parents will tell you don't wear trousers. Like myself, I grew up not wearing trousers. My dad wasn't really a fan of ladies wearing trousers. So me,
How were you delivered? Because you're wearing trousers.
Not using
That means
trousers
the interest
at all.
was there.
Yeah, so that's like, it's not really that. At some point, you might not even be able to convince a child. Maybe that person just had interest in things like this, but they were not raised that way. So like myself, even as at that time, I didn't really like trousers that much because we weren't allowed to wear trousers. But at some point when I started using, I was like, oh, so this thing actually is this nice. Almost from that day, trousers are my best friend.
But like
so that's just something.
I think that's what Maitabel is saying.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a method in which you raise the child and the interest. Because now your father just told you don't wear trousers. Did he give you a valid reason? Did he make you understand? Because I've given you an instance of two girls raised Jehovah's Witness. One till they even left it, they were not interested. One was interested. Did they give you did they imbibe those things in you? Right? It's simple. It's a lot deeper than just saying, don't do it because I said so. Don't do this. And also that strict parenting method, that not giving your child the opportunity to do things will always result in an adverse.
Let me tell you, there was one they said, okay, a parent said, if my mom said in our village that there's this girl, the dad told her, you don't need to go close to men. That if you go close to men, the only thing men will do is to impregnate you. That if you go close to men, you definitely get pregnant. That's just the only thing men will do.
That's all they do.
So when this lady went, so when she now got out there, at first she was scared of men. Oh, even once I just go close to men, I'll get pregnant. Then at some point, mistakenly or one way or the other, she went close to a guy, and then the guy was touched her, and she didn't get pregnant. She's like, oh, so that means my dad was actually lying. I actually can't get pregnant just being close to a guy. And with that, she had as many as she wanted because she knew very well that and at the end, she finally still got pregnant because she was not well informed. She was just told if a guy touch you, you get pregnant. And then the guy touched her, she didn't get pregnant. The guy had to go further, and she just knew, pregnancy.
A whole lot has changed here with education, with awareness and everything. I mean, I say it all the time. If you claim ignorance about any subject matter, it's just that you are lazy because there are so many avenues to learn about anything you want to learn about. So I don't think parents still train children like that, like, oh, don't do this. If you do this, this is what will result, and it's a lie, Then it used to be like a scare tactics to just keep that child away from that thing. But it doesn't work again. If you are going to tell a child, in fact, these Gen Z children, if you tell them like this, they will ask you, why?
Why?
As little as a 5-year-old will ask you why.
Why?
Because this one you are shouting like this. Why?
It's actually important to let kids know why.
Question everything.
So I mean, I think it starts with the way the children, every child has been raised. The whole issue of women looked at a certain way, and the whole issue of men claiming head over every woman. When the Bible said they say you should claim head over every woman you see, but you go on the street and you see a man talk down at a woman because I'm a man and you're a woman, and that's all. So he just talks like that. I said, just leave it. I said I've had experiences several times, and I'll be looking at. I asked one guy one time. I said, "Do you know me?" He said, "No." You and I, have we met before? No. So what is the problem? Like the way you are sounding, it sounds as if we had a problem somewhere, and then you're talking to me like I said, I don't understand. I sat down, I talked to myself. I said, it's just that you're a woman. That's all. And when you think about it, in fact, from a place like Nigeria, and especially here, you find that there is a very low regard for women. This place, serious, is at all-time low. A woman is not regarded for anything. And I think it's basic. Yeah, Chimana was saying to me, he said everybody should be a feminist because there's nothing... there's no reason why you should want to see someone perpetually grounded. Yeah. There's no reason why you should want, just because their gender is different from yours. And I mean, there's no reason why a woman would want to see a man that way. But because we've been raised to actually respect men. I mean, we've been raised, there are people who say something like respect is food for men. It's okay. But why didn't you train the men to also respect women? Why didn't you train them to also respect women? Why didn't you train them to also care for? Because it's basic human laws, like love yourself, love your neighbor. Simple. It didn't have any gender to it, So
okay. At the same time, with the way women are kind of looked down on, I think another excuse men kind of brought is that women are kind of pampered. Let's say for instance, if you see two guys fighting. Or let's say, two guys fighting, be like, no, Allah, they kind of, But let's say if a man hits a woman, maybe on the roadside, majorly it's even men that will go to, they might even join and hit the man, beat the man, because why will you touch a woman? You get mine, beat woman. So they are kind of, that they are kind of protecting women, that women are weaker. Women are soft, so they are supposed to be pampered, and the aspect they say women don't work, so they feel like women they are the one carrying pregnancy and they are the one going through cramps, so they are not even supposed to work in the first place because that's additional burden to them since they are weaker and they are soft.
Okay. So as in they said.
Well, that's a systematic thing. First, violence against all that basketball should not be done. Man versus woman, like normally they should stop it regardless of whatever is happening. And another thing, like this idea that women do like 75% of unpaid labor is done by women around the world, and also like I said, feminism fights for equality. Even the wages, they tend to pay women less. In countries like India, less than what they pay men for the same amount of work. So, and another thing, like, for example, my dad is an architect. Yeah. My dad is an architect, right? So we tend to come across a lot of laborers. You see all these people carrying blocks. Like, I would say 50%, there are women there. The women carrying blocks, doing this, all this hard labor under the hot sun to the point that it is aging them. Mind you, they have children as well. They have children, and in this society, 9 times out of 10, they are also the full caretaker of that child.
You're the one who wakes up in the morning and make sure they have food to take to school.
To school. And it's not even a situation of they can just, like, women do labor. Childcare is labor. At the end of the day, I tried to explain this thing to a guy once that you may see it as, oh, women have it so easy. But the moment a woman gives birth and has a child, you see that whole whatever, first is over. That experience of life is over. It's gone. Yeah. Your body is never the same. Your mind is never the same. You're in constant labor of this child that has the survival instinct of a fart. They don't know how to survive. They don't have any, and that just becomes your 24/7. And as much as you want to, like, relegate that to the man, that is not really up to, like, do you understand? Unless you've married somebody that is actively in tune. 9 times out of 10, they are not married.
Most of them are not there.
Even me as a person that I will carry someone's child by accident. The moment I fed up with it, I'm like,
take your child.
Mommy Jessica, please take. Talk less of a husband that already society is in support of that behavior. Yeah, that's his child. You just take.
But
they will even tell you, take your child. And you'll be wondering, did I carry the child from somewhere?
You understand?
No, but that aspect of those hard labor, like carrying blocks, do you think women should still be doing things like that?
I'm not in support of
for me,
nobody should be going through. See, my own is that I think that hard labor, I don't think anyone should be subjected to that kind of work because it is tasking. But at the end of the day, like, the society to run, lower income people, higher income people, whatever income classes, it's going to, it's not a matter of, it's still needed, like, at the end of the day for their life. That's what they're doing to make money. Whether it's carrying blocks or going to like, another thing that they say women don't even work. Like, when you go to the market, who are you looking at that comes there from morning till night? Who are you looking, going around, doing all that, staying there? It's women. And I don't like the fact that any opportunity to discredit women, people are looking for how to discredit it. Like, oh yeah, because now men are not allowed to do woman gbasgbos, they are not going through anything in life. I promise you that a good amount of men in their life probably have never gotten punched in the face.
No, that reminds me of...
They're making you look at it every day, like a man struggle every day is that someone come and box him and nobody will defend him.
I remember in neighbor back in the years, this lady, her husband was going through abuse in her hand. Like, if you see the way this woman would bundle her husband, and the other was not even a slim guy, the man was chubby. Crazy. She would bundle this man, the next one would see this man outside.
Are you serious?
She this man, like, if you see this woman, boom, she's muscular. So the husband had to run away from the house. If this lady, she sells kerosene, she carries 50 liters on her head, then hold this other one here, her hands like this. Then whenever her husband, like, if she kind of, notice she will beat the husband. Neighbors will need to be the one to come see her bed, leave the man.
Okay, but that's like maybe 1 out of 1,000. Yeah, that's like 1 out of 1,000.
Some men are actually going through abuse as well.
Of course,
like, I don't even know. That is not
trust
even.
Me.
I don't know. I don't think that this is the conversation to bring it in the sense that, like, women end up being the ones that advocate for themselves. Like, most times, I think men should start speaking up for themselves. And that is not to say, oh, men don't have it. You hear me sometimes talk about, like, when we're having a conversation about essay, I tend to bring up male essay too, because I also think that's a result of patriarchy. Like, male essay being ignored, male essay not being considered essay. Young boys, because there are young boys that go through the pedos. There are female pedos, and patriarchy like minimizes and underestimates women to the point where women cannot do wrong. Women cannot do something bad. You understand? And it now becomes a shield for abusers. This is not a place to shield abusers. It's not, but also these conversations at the same time, they tend to be lesser. And I don't believe we should not speak about it, but I don't believe it's also something that should be talked on to silence women
What
in the
women
process.
are going through.
Because when you see people bring up these things, most times in the conversation about women's abuse, you did not care about men being abused until a woman was being abused.
Yeah.
And that is the most disgusting and irritating thing I ever see.
No. Yeah,
That movement for men that falsely accused do not start until women were talking about being abused. If so many men were getting falsely accused and bad things were happening to them, you should have started a movement separate. Started it, not a counter
Not wait
movement,
until,
not to
yes, you have
overshadow,
counter
not
a
to
woman's
cover.
movement. Yeah, it's
We
true.
and I believe, like I said, I believe for men being advocated for. I believe that, but at the same time, there is a time and there is a place.
Yeah.
There are situations where, do you understand? There's nobody that will hear these horror stories coming from men and like they are saying, right? They are saying, and they'll not be like, okay, what can we do to fix this? What can we do to change this? But that's not the situation. The situation is that these situations come at inconvenient times when, for example, now I think I had a conversation about this. You know that guy that they accused him of essaying his daughters, and then it now
Yes.
came out that it was fake or something. That it was not actually what happened. Someone was having a conversation with me. I was not like, see what happens. Like, oh, these false accusations. And I'm not trying to explain that. You cannot get convicted of SA unless there is like
And hints of,
hard hitting evidence,
evidence,
regardless of whether you did it or not. Because the truth about false allegations, like you guys try to make it seem, is that they don't hold water. Like a false allegation, 9 times out of 10 cannot be anything but a false allegation. It's probably always going to stay. And the truth is that the truth will come out, and the person that created that false allegation is going to receive so much hate, so much. Do you understand? There'll be so much aggression towards that person. If a person has gotten arrested and they've been in prison because of that, they probably did it. There must be such damning evidence, because I tell you, I